Live tonight from, oh, well, someone spins on their qualifying lap. Live from Richmond Raceway. It is the Red Light Scrambler Series with their second race, their elimination race, essentially, in the first round of the playoffs. After last week, it was, William Long and Eric Johnson that were the last two drivers here on the point standings. And coming into this race, there is pretty much just 1 point separating multiple drivers from about 6th place to 12th place. There's at least one or less points, 1 point separating most of those drivers. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th are all separated by a point or at least tied. Johnson and Long, they're 3 and 2 points out of trying to get back in. So it's going to be a very close race, and it looks to be by the points that nobody is safe. So let's find out what happens here tonight on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a very interesting race. So the only driver that is safe heading into this race tonight is the one and the only Max Terrio in the 42. He is the only driver that is safe for tonight's race, and he's gonna really, he's fine. I mean, he didn't even have to show up, but he's shown up anyways, and he has decided to race for tonight. Because, well, there is always a chance to capitalize on it. So 17 drivers have qualified already, all of which are qualifying. And currently underway is the qualifying session. So we're going to be waiting here for the next minute and 6 seconds for qualifying to end, and then we will be going over your starting grid. Tim Blum is on the pole once again. Sean Butler 9 thousandths of a second off of that pole position, and we can actually bring that up through this. It's not the finishing results, it's just the general results here of qualifying. As you can see, currently your top 10 as it stands right now in qualifying. And it looks like the entire top 5 all within a tenth. The top 10 is within 2 tenths of each other. So a few drivers taking to this track very well, a few others not so much, but they are still doing pretty decent in terms of their qualifying time. So we're going to figure out who starts where here. It's the last 20 or so seconds for some drivers to really start up their laps, or at least wrap them up. I can see one driver just exiting turn number 2 to the back straightaway. He's got about 10 seconds left. But the drivers that are crossing the start-finish line now, they have one more chance at their lap. As the driver just coming off turn number 4, that lap is over, so any other laps now will have to be finished. And it looks like all these drivers will opt out of finishing that lap time and decide to come to pit road. So, as we wait for the final 15 seconds and the ticker to flash once again with the checkers, we'll be going over your starting grid, seeing who starts where in this 17-car field. Eric Johnson and William Long are both labeled in red for this race, as they're the last 2 drivers in points out of last week. So we're gonna be figuring out pretty much just who ends up where, because my goodness, the standings are absolutely insane. So let's go over the standings really quick. We have 2 pace laps, I believe, here at Richmond. So we're gonna actually go over the starting grid first, as we have Tim Blum starting on the front row with Sean Butler to his outside in the 88. There he is. Sean Butler starts to the outside in his number 88. Row number 2 holds DJ Anderson in third. Fourth place going to hold the 42 of Max Terrio. Rounding out the top 5 is going to be Eric Johnson, and it's going to be great. That's a great relief for him so far tonight, but how much of a relief? Well, that's what we'll find out here. James Skelton starts in 6th. 7th place, Brendan Minto. 8th place, Andy Lee. 9th place is going to hold Joshua Buckley, and rounding out the top 10 is Ryan O'Donnell. Starting in the 11th will be Richard Murdoch. 12th place is William Long in the number 12, appropriately enough. 13th is Leo Bordage. 14th, Christopher Rothrock. 15th, Kevin O'Brien. 16th, Patrick Orr. And rounding out your 17-car field is Brian Phillips in the number 39. So, as far as the actual point standings go, well, who cares about Max Terrio in this case? Because, well, actually, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that rhetorical question. Why should Max Terrio worry about this race? That's a better question, because he is absolutely fine. He's locked in. He's got nothing to worry about. However, for the next 11 drivers, we have Tim Blum, Kyle Souza, James Skelton, Leo Bordage, Richard Murdoch, Kevin O'Brien, Ryan O'Donnell, DJ Anderson, Sean Butler, Eric Johnson, and William Long. Those are your last 11 drivers. The points for those drivers, respectively, is Tim Blum with 1,000. No, just actually, we'll leave out the 1,000, but it's 31, 29, 27, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 19, 16, 14. So, pretty much everybody is in line to get shuffled around somewhere. The drivers that are most at risk are DJ Anderson, Sean Butler, Eric Johnson, William Long, and to some extent Richard Murdoch, Kevin O'Brien, Ronald Downey as well. So pretty much 6th place to 12th place in points is at risk of elimination. Maybe Leo Bordage, but then again, that's something we'll have to find out here. So we will hold off on ending the broadcast at the very end, just so we can get the point standings in. So don't go away at the very end of the broadcast, because at the end of the post-race interviews, we should be able to have the point standings. The point standings may be up by then. So the pace car is about to pull off into pit road, a scheduled 42 minutes and 12 seconds. As if we get all green flag laps here at Richmond Raceway. Tim Blum in control once again of the pole, and the green flag is out. We are underway. It's already a great start by Tim Blum, and look at Sean Butler immediately protecting that inside lane early on. So it's side by side as Terrio gets very loose off turn number 4. Somehow, someway, he hangs on to it, and we were 3 wide between the 25, 86, 25. Did I read that correctly? I believe that's a 20. As we have a spin in the back, it's the 98 of Ryan O'Donnell. Caution is out. Looks like it's just a one-car incident and him only. As we are under caution early on in this race, very early on. As that was I'm looking back at this, it apparently was the 25. Weirdly enough, it was the 25, 86, 25. But that second 25 car that was on the top side, we'll transition to this real quick on the replay. The 25 that we are focused on, actually, as we're going to get the drawing software up, so apologies for no picture and no immediate replay as it comes up on the actual feed. So as we get this set back up, this number 25 right here is actually the 20 of Brendan Minto, so he just forgot to change his car number on his paint scheme. The second number 25 is actually the number 25 in this race of Andy Lee. As far as the actual replay goes, however, for Ryan O'Donnell, we'll see if we can get a different, there we go, camera angle. It looks like, if we can get TV, wow, that's very far off, unfortunately. It looks like he got the front quarter panel of the number 25 of Andy Lee, and a hard shot to the inside, unfortunately. And we get an onboard look here off turn number 2. Yeah, it's just a misjudgment of space by the 98, unfortunately. And that's what causes our first caution here for the night. So back live. Just running along the pace car for the time being. And as you can see on the ticker, Ryan Oldani unfortunately is now in line for elimination. And that could be the same with Leo Bordage. For Ryan Oldani, he is about 6 points out from being eliminated. Well, scratch that. 4 points. That is 4 points out from being eliminated. So, with Johnson and I believe William Long. Where's William Long? He's in 8th. So at this point, yeah, Ryan Oldani is possibly in line for elimination. He's not out of the race. He is still running. Question is, how far out is he going to be? So lights on the pace car are officially out. I'll be going green here this time by in just a few moments. So pace car pulls up, field back in control, the 10 of Tim Blum. And we are back underway. Green flag back out, Richmond. Side by side for second place and relatively throughout the field, and unfortunately DJ Anderson looked like he got a little bit loose off turn number 2, the 20 of Brendan Minto, and the number 25 for this week and this week only, unfortunately, at least for his car number on the paint. Currently trying to get by Joshua Buckley for position at number 5, but Buckley hanging strong on the outside. Is there somebody? That is Brian Phillips, who had dived down to the inside in the background there, as I think still side by side for 5th place between the 20 of Minto and the 2 of Buckley as they sort that out. Now it's going to be between Murdoch, who is not in his black and flame paint scheme. Hello. Oh, that's not going to work as the 01 gets tagged. He saves it. That definitely was not going to work. Andy Lee got held up, unfortunately, and that's going to really shake up the playoff order here. Just a reminder, the ticker is not in real time. It is as of the start-finish line. As Joshua Buckley's not the only driver that has fallen back. Ryan Oldani and Kevin O'Brien side by side. They're trying to race each other. Oldani, however, with a lot of damage on his front end, so it's not going to work out, unfortunately, for him for the time being. Meanwhile, Tim Blum has really gained a lead here, about 0.6, 0.7 seconds. As right now, looking through the field side by side for position number 8 between Eric Johnson in a very bright paint scheme and Leo Bordage on the inside. At 7, Bordage tries to hang on as unfortunately Christopher Rothrock slides off turn number 4, saves it, misses the inside wall, and he's going to try and get that thing back going after driving straight through the infield. As Murdoch and Buckley are side by side, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh boy, that's not a good sign. Oh, that was not a good sign. Not sure if that was my end or not. Chat, go ahead and let me know about that for a quick second if you can, please. Did the stream drop out on the viewer's end? That's all I want to know. because that did not, that was about 5 seconds of not too good. Oh, we're still here though, still streaming, still racing. Just want to know if it dropped down the viewer's end here for a second. As far as I know, I don't believe it did. As we continue on, however, Sean Butler and DJ Anderson still completing second and third. Meanwhile, Tim Blum is really gaining a lead here. About 1.2 seconds, so Tim Blum trying to stick it to Sean Butler. The only driver able to do that was Max Terrio, who currently sits in 4th place. So your top 5 currently consists of Tim Blum, Sean Butler, DJ Anderson, Max Terrio, and Brendan Minto, who is supposed to be car number 20, but apparently another one of his paint schemes is actually the 25. Looking at the stream replay, I don't believe anything was lost. Aside from that, however, it's going to be a battle for 6th place here as Eric Johnson moves to the inside of William Long. Both of these drivers were on the essentially on the cut line of the top 10 coming into this race, and it looks like it was just an iRacing issue on terms of the air quote stream dropout. So that was iRacing side, not client side, thankfully. Oh man. Meanwhile, Eric Johnson almost cut off the nose of William Long, so trying to say, well, guess whose car manufacturer is better. As well, speaking of internet issues, Sean Butler has in real time dropped all the way to the 15th, nope, 16th, and dead last and 17th in about 3 seconds. And he's back. So Sean Butler having a few issues. Just in time to get across the start-finish line, just still remains scored in second. His previous lap time will not count, however, as he was gone from majority of the timing lines on this racetrack. Halfway in this race will be lap number 65. Sorry, correction on that, 63. In mathematical terms, that halfway point is lap number 62 and a half. So, lap 62 on the back straightaway in this case. So Tim Blum continues to lead here at Richmond. As we get the leader graphic up, as we're going to focus on the rest of the field here. Meanwhile, second, third, and fourth, they've just been riding here for a while. I haven't really had any major issues. As Brendan Minto currently sits in 5th, nothing much has happened. Eric Johnson could be closing in on that 5th place in a few laps' time, as he had gotten by William Long. A 7 of Leo Bordage and the 86 of James Skelton could be playing a little bit of spoiler here. At the line, it is going to be 25 laps complete, 100 laps to go. So far, only one caution on the second lap, and that was a spin by Ryan O'Donnell, unfortunately. Yeah, it spun out, and, well, he's dead last at this point. Where's Tim Blum? Well, he's directly behind him, so Ryan O'Donnell could be, for sure, eliminated after this race, but we won't know for sure until the points become absolutely official, and I'll let you know after the post-race interviews or during. So you might want to stick around for that if you're interested. Meanwhile, battle for the top 10 position between Andy Lee and Joshua Buckley. Andy Lee got that little bit of damage on his front nose. Well, never mind. I was about to say, Andy Lee was, well, I actually will continue that thought. Andy Lee got a little bit of damage on his front nose, and He almost got a little bit more, and he probably would have gotten more if he'd actually saved that, or if he hadn't saved that. That car would have been pointing towards the inside wall, and he probably wouldn't have a front end at that point. So Richard Murdoch moves up to 11th. Joshua Buckley still remains in 10th. And everyone is very spread out here, so we could be seeing some green flag pit stops here play into effect later on into this race. So Sean Butler has slowly closed the gap by a significant margin compared to the last time that we have checked in on this. And that is about 0.8 seconds now. The last time we checked in was 1.2 seconds. And that's after Tim Blum had a very good lead. So Sean Butler may have found the rhythm of his car. Question is, how long can he keep that rhythm? And look at lap time comparisons. Well, look at the right-hand side of the driver's name. It's about virtually identical. So let's see what comes across this time, but it's about 0.04 tenths, or sorry, 0.4 hundredths of a second off. At the start-finish line, it is advantage to Tim Blum, but not by much. By just a little bit, but not a lot. So that tenth of a second could really matter for Sean Butler this next time by. We'll see what that comes across as this time around. 22.071 versus 22.053, so it's 2 hundredths of a second, just nearly. So coming into this race, actually we'll hold off on that as Joshua Buckley is caught up to the back bumper of Richard Murdoch. At least he had for a few moments. Andy Lee for sure has not left the back bumper of Joshua Buckley. By how much? Well, about a car length and a half, it seems, by this camera angle. Oh, well, that was pretty much no car lengths there. Andy Lee still having trouble. He got this damage again earlier on from the first and only caution as Ryan O'Donnell had went up into the same lane that Andy Lee was in. O'Donnell had gotten his core panel tagged and spun out to the inside, and that is how he got that front end damage that you see right here. So O'Donnell is now a lot down and at this point could be eliminated, but again, waiting for the end of the race. James Skelton moves to the inside of Brendan Minto, who should be in the 20 this week, but instead his paint scheme decided to go for 25. And this could be a crossover attempt as the 86 had drifted up in the turn. Yep. Well, maybe not. There goes Minto down to the inside, but no movement. Not enough momentum, unfortunately, by Brendan Minto, and the should be 20, but it instead is the 25. But for the time being, everyone is very spread out. That gap between the leaders has closed. Well, never mind. It's fluctuating ever so slightly. That hundredth of a second is mattering, however. And last time around, it was 0.0 as 1/100th of a second. Advantage to Tim Blum as Joshua Buckley. I was looking as actually the gap time, and that apparently resets the start-finish line. So closest two drivers on the racetrack are between Leo Bordage and William Long by about 0.2 seconds. And it looks like Bordage is closing the gap. Right now, William Long doing a great job hanging on, as he is again in line for elimination coming into this race. However, at the moment, he looks to be doing very well, so I don't believe he will be eliminated after this. But again, at this point, you could just speculate that's the last two drivers, as somebody was off the racetrack. Was that the two? It was. It was Joshua Buckley. So Joshua Buckley had spun off of turn number 4. And we'll figure out by how much. Oh, man, that is a... Wow, that was point directly towards the infield. So that's the second driver. I believe the last one was Christopher Rothrock that had a near miss there off of turn number 4. And speaking of a near miss off turn 4, Tim Blum had a little bit of a moment there. He had a little bit of a bobble. Nothing major enough to warrant a replay, thankfully, but... Well, nothing, thankfully for him, that's major enough to warrant a replay. As it looks like, well, mentioned pit stops earlier, it looks like these drivers are going to be heading into pit road. 42 laps seems to be the maximum. And speaking of 42 and, well, the first three letters of maximum, in this case, Max, Sean Butler and Max Terrio are both in pit road. And that's quite interesting because these two are the only two drivers to really win a race so far this season. Tim Blum has remained outside of pit road so far. As there's a third driver. Nope, scratch that actually. There are more drivers coming into pit road, however. DJ Anderson, Eric Johnson, and James Skelton. So those three have went to pit road. Sean Butler is quickly down and away. And exactly 1 second faster on the pit stop was Max Terrio. Not sure if it was from damage or not. I didn't see anything visible as Tim Blum will come across the start-finish line to lead his 44th lap of the race. And he will surrender the lead over to what is now William Long. Which, interestingly enough, he was the very last driver. He was 12th place after Talladega last week. And I was about to say it could help him to get a bonus point from a lap led, but right now it's going to be Richard Murdoch taking that away on lap number 45. So Tim Blum pit road, William Long also on pit road, same with Andy Lee in the 25. Along with Joshua Buckley, he's on pit road. He's just about to get off of pit road. Actually, Brendan Minto leaving pit road as well. It's very, very busy. You see Joshua Buckley at the very corner of your screen as he left pit road. So now it's the only, Richard Murdoch led one lap, goes to pit road. Leo Bordage led one lap. Will he go to pit road? Is the next question. So it's Leo Bordage, Patrick Orr. Well, there goes Bordage to pit road. So we're going to have Patrick Orr leading a lap this time around, and it will be. So we have about 5 lead changes so far. So it's now Patrick Orr and Christopher Rothrock that have yet to go to pit road. It is the rookies in positions number 1 and 2. And of course the rookies are shown by the car number with the number 9 in front of their triple digit numbers. And officially across the start-finish line the last time around and this time around it will be the rookies leading the race, and they are the only two drivers to not go to pit road so far. In fact, Kevin O'Brien and Brian Phillips have also yet to go to pit road. So Patrick Orr could have a little bit of a better strategy while not on tires, but on distance, as he pit on the first 5 laps of this race. However, Christopher Rothrock with a little bit of a bobble off turn number 4 he's the only driver so far in this race, and the only driver at this point in this race to not go to pit road for the full amount of this race, as that was the 01 of Richard Murdoch that had a little bit of a moment. Patrick Orr goes to pit road. Christopher Rothrock takes over the lead at the start-finish line. So multiple lead changes here early on at Richmond as we are closing in on the halfway point. And I'm not sure if it's because of fuel or not that the 984 is a little bit slow, but he's definitely trying to hang on as best as he can. $52 laps on his tires. Oh, he's trying to save fuel. He may be out. So it's going to be Kevin O'Brien going to the lead as we ride on board. 40 miles an hour is your pit road speed for this week at Richmond. And it will be Sean Butler moving to second, third place, Tim Blum. As Rothrock tried to stay out as long as he could, and he did so. But right now it's going to be Kevin O'Brien top side. And I forgot he was supposed to go to pit road. So now it's going to be Sean Butler taking control of the lead after about 7 lead changes in the span of about 10 laps. First place, Sean Butler. Second place going to be Tim Blum, who is almost directly behind him. He just needs to get by Leo Bordage. Tim Blum is your pole sitter as well. Max Terrio currently sits third. DJ Anderson sits fourth. Fifth place is Eric Johnson. So now it's going to be Sean Butler getting some laps led here at Richmond. And apologies for that. That was the JRT scoring. Now scraping the wall a little bit was Joshua Buckley. But Tim Blum has gotten by Leo Bordage, and now he's going to be directly behind. Well, never mind. I was about to say he's about to be directly behind the double eight of Sean Butler. And he might be able to, but Sean Butler and Joshua Buckley are 2 of 4 teammates. But Buckley is staying way out of this battle. So it's going to be side by side, but not for a position. However, Tim Blum could be striking here in just a few laps as we are closing in on halfway. Lap 62 on the back straightaway. And you heard possibly Tim Blum let up on the throttle there as well, trying to save as much tires as possible and enough fuel. I mean, Tim Blum has a 2-lap advantage as well. He pitted earlier than Sean Butler. Actually, no, scratch that. He pitted later than Sean Butler. Sean Butler was the first driver to blink. Now, caution could be coming out. That's the 984 of Christopher Rothrock on the inside. We're going to be waiting to see if the caution is called. Yes, it is, and that is with Sean Butler in the lead. Tim Blum second. Third place, Max Terrio. So caution is after a spin off turn number 2, and that is from the 984. We'll see what happens here off the corner. It looks like he just immediately broke loose. Great job by locking it down, however, and getting it off the actual racetrack as to not draw a caution. Unfortunately, iRacing Race Control had thrown a caution due to the speed of the 984. It happened just in front of the 20 of Brendan Minta, who was not in the 20 this week, but rather the 25. So the caution is out, and the majority of your field is in pit road. And how much of a majority? No, about the top 10. So Tim Blum is going to be going into his pit stall. Very quick stop. Great job by him. So we're going to see who is first off of pit road in just a couple of moments. As it looks like it's going to be Sean Butler at the last second. Tim Blum second. Third place is Max Terrio. Eric Johnson third. Fourth off, James Skelton. Andy Lee sixth. Seventh, Murdoch. Eighth, Long. Ninth is Minto. And still in pit road is, unfortunately, DJ Anderson. Looks like he could be getting some damage repaired. Though I am not too sure about that. He could be getting a little bit of damage repaired. Can't tell from this angle, unfortunately. But he barely gets off of pit road in time, I believe. So the pace car currently is on the back straightaway. Actually, go to the onboard camera, as we should be halfway this time around, and we are. I'm going to take this moment to go over your top 10, or pretty much the entire field, at this point in the race. So we have Sean Butler currently first, and second place is going to be Tim Blum, currently with the most laps led at about 45 to 50. 44 laps led by Tim Blum. Third place is Max Terrio in the 42. Eric Johnson in fourth. Fifth place going to be James Skelton. Sixth place, Andy Lee. Seventh place will be Richard Murdoch in the 01. William Long starts in eighth place, restarts in eighth place. Ninth place, what should be the number 20, Brendan Minto, is the 20. The paint scheme, however, says otherwise. He currently sits in ninth, and Leo Bordage currently sits 10th. 11th, DJ Anderson going back to pit road. So that could be 11th to Patrick Orr. 12th place, or 13th place in middle time at least, Kevin O'Brien. One lap down is Ryan O'Downey. Brian Phillips, also one lap down. 2 laps down, Christopher Rothrock. 16th and 17th, Joshua Buckley, 2 laps down. So lights on the pace car. Lights on the pace car are now out. We should be going green here in just a few moments. So 2 cautions within the first half of this race. We'll see how the second half fares as Sean Butler brings the field to the green on this restart. Second place, Tim Blum, your pole sitter. Green is out. We are back underway. You can see how close the back bumper, the front bumper, Max Terrio is. But Tim Blum manages to strive ahead, but not as far ahead as Sean Butler is right now, as the caution is back out to 51 of DJ Anderson, and it looks to be the 34. Actually, that's the 39, sorry, of Brian Phillips. Contact was made heading into the trial, but we'll figure out what happens here off turn 4. And it looks like, the 39 just got into the outside wall and a hard shot to the inside. Should put a safer barrier there, to be honest. Surprised the engine is still running in the car, that number 39, but we'll see what it was like for some of the drivers behind, one of which being Kevin O'Brien. Riding on board with him here off turn 4. Now it's just a loss of control by the 39 after hitting the outside wall. That unfortunately has resulted in his loss of position and essentially the loss of his car as a whole. And it's not seeing 39. There he is. Yeah, his engine just blew out too, so unfortunately Brian Phillips is out of this race for good. Fortunately, though, he is not in the playoffs. So we're going to go and pick that car up, put it behind the wall. Thanks everyone for tuning in, however, to this race, as once again, this is the Red Light Scrambler series here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network, bring you the second race of, well, the second round, I should say, of, nope, first round, the second race of the first round of the playoffs. So 2 races in each round, essentially. If I could properly speak English here for about 5 seconds, that'd be absolutely wonderful. But aside from that, though, and it's a quite interesting race, as per usual, bringing you the camera work and commentary and anything in between. Hopefully not internet failure being one of those. I am, as per usual, Gary Weaver. And it is a lovely day here at Richmond, as it's the middle of the day instead of nighttime. So heading into the future races here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network for this race, or for this week. Well, upcoming 3 races we have for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series. They are on Thursdays and they will be at Richmond for their two twin 80-lap event, as that is well, two 80-lap races within each other. Not within each other, but back to back. So two 80-lap races for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series that goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then this coming Sunday, it will be the Cage Cup Series, the Flat Out Racing League with the Cage Cup Series at Chicagoland Speedway, and that's going to be quite interesting, as again, it's with a new package as well, so I'm quite looking forward to see what happens there. And then finally next week is going to be for the Red Light Scrambler Series live at the usual 8 p.m. Eastern Time, give or take a few minutes. It is the Red Light Scrambler Series at Las Vegas for the second playoff round of the series. Another two races, and we'll see who is going to move on after this during the post-race interviews, or during the post-race interviews. They will be in the Xfinity cars next week as well, and go check them out. Just go to redlightracing.com for just to figure out what to do to get into the series. For the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series, go to fuelrl.com, and Flat Out Racing League has flatoutracing.com, I believe. It's flatoutracingleague.com. So the pace car pulls off, heading into pit road. Sean Butler still in control of the field as the green flag flies. We'll be going green here, entering turn number 1 and 2, and Max Terrio gonna try his best to get to second place. However, that's not going to be the case, as side by side it could be happening. It will not, actually. I thought Tim Blum would have made a move there to the inside. And right now, Eric Johnson trying to, well, he looked to the inside of the 42 Max Terrio. Unfortunately, though, that was not the case. So right now, just a quick recap on your top 10. It's Sean Butler first, second place. Tim Blum, the caution is out. It's Patrick Orr on the front straightaway. And it looks like he may have had Kevin O'Brien taken along. I don't see any visible damage, however. And it looks to be so. Kevin O'Brien was involved in this accident. And, oh, that's how. It's the second time that's happened. Someone's gotten loose off the corner. Didn't hit the wall this time, though, but unfortunately, that was the case here. And that was not the case, fortunately, but unfortunately, though, the 984, or the 981, had absolutely just no reaction to it. Patrick Orr, unfortunately, just did not expect that whatsoever. So going back live, will anybody head to pit road? It looks like it's everyone to pit road this time around. As Sean Butler has a very massive advantage here in terms of car lengths. And looks to be one driver staying out. That is Brendan Minto. Not sure for how long. He is 8 laps on his tires. So it's understandable that he stays out. Tim Blum, did 33 just directly pass straight through pit road? I think he did, actually. I think the 33 of Johnson immediately, the 33 of Johnson just went straight through pit road. So not sure what the reason to that is, unless he missed his pit box. But nonetheless, though, Tim Blum first off pit road. He must have taken 2 tires. Sean Butler second off pit road. Ooh, that was a little bit of a close moment there. We'll see how many tires that Tim Blum has taken. We'll see which sides he had decided to take here. As Brendan Minto goes to pit road, he will not be counted in the lead, as Eric Johnson has officially stayed out. So Tim Blum, right sides are up. Sean Butler, his left side should be up, and it is 2 tires, 2 right side tires for the number 10 of Tim Blum. Quite an interesting choice now that thinking about that, to be honest, for Eric Johnson. Unfortunately, though, since he has passed through pit road, that has caused the ATVO scoring to assume that he had actually stopped in his pit box, which he did not. So his stint will be incorrect in a sense, as he did not get any new tires. Tim Blum, however, has gotten new tires. So I'm quite interested to see how that plays out. So we are going to be under caution for about one more lap, and then the lights should be going out this next time around. DJ Anderson back in pit road once again. Still trying to repair all the damage that he's gotten over the course of this race. As we'll go through the entire field here for the time being, we have Eric Johnson in first. Second place, Tim Blum. Third place is going to be Sean Butler. Fourth place, Max Terrio. Fifth place is James Skelton. Sixth place, Andy Lee. Seventh place, William Long. Eighth place, Richard Murdoch. Ninth, the Abortage. Top 10 to be rounded out by Ryan O'Donnell, unless, Eric Johnson decides to go to pit road. Did somebody tell him what I said? I have a feeling somebody told him what I said. So move Patrick Orr to the top 10. 11th will be Kevin O'Brien. 12th will be Brendan Minto. 13th is going to be DJ Anderson. I think I'm missing somebody. Yes. The 33. So 14th will be Eric Johnson here. And then one lap down, Joshua Buckley. 2 laps down is Christopher Rothrock. The only driver out of this 17-car field is Brian Phillips in the 39 after taking a hard shot to the inside wall on the tri-oval to bring out the third caution. And unfortunately, the front straightaway rather, not the tri-oval. And unfortunately, his engine is done for the day. So Tim Blum back in control of the field, or so I thought, because look at the 42 pushing the 10 all the way down into turn number 1. Shoving the 10, saying, you know what, you have fun with this. I've gotten enough wins, I'm locked in. And that's what the 42 was saying. And somehow, some way, 88 of Sean Butler manages to get by in the lead once again, continuing his lead lap streak. The most laps led so far are 44 laps, led by Tim Blum. Side by side for the 5th place position. At least it was for a few moments, was James Skelton and Richard Murdoch. It could still be side by side here off the corner. Brendan Minto in the not number 20, instead number 25. At least for his paint scheme, rather, for this week. Is currently riding out your top 10 under attack by Patrick Orr for the time being, or at least a bit of a brewing battle from Patrick Orr. Side by side, however, for position number 9. This could be between Eric Johnson and Leo Bordage. As Johnson comes out on top of that battle, Buckley has fallen back to 14th in real time. Oh, hard shot to the inside wall. Speaking of Joshua Buckley, that is him himself. Buckley took a hard shot to the inside. I'm not sure how loose he got, but it's enough to warrant him to go to pit road. Nearly hits the barriers as well. Not sure what happened. We're going to take an onboard replay here. It may just... Oh, man. That may have just been the banking change. I'm not sure, but that number 2 is possibly done for the day. He's trying to get into his pit box for the time being. He was moving around like his steering was messed up for a few moments. So that could be the case. He may have damaged one of the axles, at least the front left front axle. Meanwhile, side by side for position number 6, 7. Apologies for that. That was Eric Johnson getting by William Long. As right now is still Tim Blum sideswiping the outside wall there, entering turn or the through the front straightaway. As for now, it looks like Sean Butler could be making his way to a new lead lap record here at this track in terms of for the race, I should say. So Tim Blum second, Terrio third. Again, this is just like last week. The only driver within the top 3 to not win a race is Tim Blum. And a majority of the season has been won by Sean Butler, I believe 6 weeks in a row, or 7. But Max Terrio has broken that winning streak, I believe, twice. I believe I may be a little bit incorrect on who won. I'm going to double check the statistics actually really quickly. So apologies if I got that wrong. So yeah, Max Terrio won 3 races. Oh goodness. Sorry about that. Honestly, I'd forgotten about Talladega. Oh, Sean Butler's connection has dropped for the time being. So can it be Tim Blum at the start-finish line? Stealing a lap lead, making it 45 at the line. It shows scoring, top of the bar. Yes, 46 laps led, actually. Oh, that may have been Sean Butler going back into existence. Yep, there he is. Oh, he's directly in front of Tim Blum. I don't think Tim Blum is going to let up on the back bumper. So we'll see what scoring says at the start-finish line. It is still being shown Tim Blum as the leader. Sean Butler has lost a lap. Due to his internet connection, he didn't cross the start-finish line the last time around. He lost the lap. We'll see what it shows this time by. Is Tim Blum officially in the lead? He is. So Tim Blum is officially in the lead. Sean Butler, from his internet issues, as you can see, it's very prominent. He has lost his lap, and now he is 1 lap down in the 13th place position, and he could be falling back even more since the 51 is on the racetrack, and he has fallen back in real time to what is now 14th. So internet connection issues hindering Sean Butler and his laps. So this could now just be a 2-car battle for the lead, and this makes the statistic now being 1 driver in the top 3 has not won any race this season so far. Although, to put it quite simply, it's more the other 15 drivers in this race have not won a race this season. Again, so far. One of which is being Max Terrio for 3 races. Not 2. I apologize for saying that earlier in the broadcast. That was just that it was only 2 races. And Sean Butler winning a multitude of races, which I believe is 6. But right now, this has went out in Tim Blum's favor, as Tim Blum could be leading over half of the race at this rate. That is only if Max Terrio can do something about it. I'm going to double check on the status of Sean Butler, who could be actually losing. Actually, going to double check the point standing as well. He could be losing his top 12 here. We'll find out. We'll take a look at the point standings. Oh no. Oh, Sean Butler is definitely in line for elimination. Oh boy. This is not going to go well. 6 laps down. I think he's officially dropped out of the session. We're going to black out. Hold on. Apologies for the loss of picture here for a second. We're going to double check. Yep, Sean Butler had received throughput, which means he had disconnected forcefully by the internet. By his internet connection, has forcefully forced him off the server due to his temporarily bad connection. He is back on the server, however. He has reconnected. I'm just wondering, though, how this is going to affect him. At the moment, he is for sure in line of elimination. It was Joshua Buckley in the top 12. He was not. So it's Sean Butler for sure. And there's another driver that I just saw on the ticker. Sean Butler and DJ Anderson, unfortunately. So the Need for Speed teammates could be out at the end of this race. This is all essentially speculation, prediction, whatever you want to title it as. As we're going to go lost the picture one more time, as unfortunately hit the incorrect button, so it's going to force a Also picture here as the program should be forcibly removed here in a few moments. But nonetheless, though, it is still green for a majority of this race. 4 cautions only so far, as we have your picture back. And with 22 laps to go, I was about to say 23. 22 laps to go, it is still Tim Blum. And Max Theriault is closing in ever so slightly. If Tim Blum can lead 63 laps, actually. So he just needs to lead 5 more laps. Sorry. Hold off on that. Now he just needs to lead 5 more laps, and he will lead a majority of the race, and he will get, if there is, I believe there is, a bonus point of the most laps led. And we're going to wait to see what Max Theriault does, because he is riding on top of that back bumper like it's the final 5 laps. Currently, your top 5 is as follows across the top of the screen as well. Tim Blum, Max Theriault, Andy Lee, James Skelton, Richard Murdoch, Eric Johnson, and in 7th place, William Long. They're both in line for elimination at the beginning of this race. And, well, look at them now. They are 6th and 7th, respectively. So those two are really starting to make a charge here. Unfortunately, DJ Anderson and Sean Butler could be in line for elimination at the moment. They are just by on-track position alone. So Tim Blum just needs to lead 1 more lap, and he will have led half of the race this season. And as well as him being in line to actually get a win for someone who isn't Max Theriault or Sean Butler. It'll be a nice change, at least for the drivers, at least, and definitely Tim Blum. Tim Blum has been runner-up so many times that it is very unfortunate for him. So this would be a very, very nice relief for him. He won't be locked into the 3rd round. This is still the 2nd round. He just locks himself into the 2nd round, which is next week. So he has led officially over half of the race so far. We're going to be going double wide here, as you will not miss a thing. The first commercial break of this race as well, impressively enough. Currently your top 5, Tim Blum, Max Theriault, Andy Lee, James Skelton, Richard Murdoch will be going double wide, and you will not miss a single thing. This is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network bringing you the Red Light Scrambler Series here for their 2nd race of the 1st round, and the last race of the 1st round as well. 15 laps remain with Tim Blum in the lead. And it looks like at the moment, Max Theriault could be falling off the pace. Don't go anywhere.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And we are back here at Richmond Raceway watching Tim Blum quickly as he can, tick up those lead laps. Max Terrio has fallen off the pace by 2 seconds. This is the largest gap, under green at least, as far as I know, where the leader has a very massive advantage here. And one of those is Tim Blum, who's come close to finishing second so many times. We're going to find out if he can really get the job done by the end of this race. I believe he'd actually be at 80 laps led here at the end of the race as well. He should be, and yep, by the looks of it, he will be. That is if he remains in the lead. As of right now, we have entered the point of no return, which means if the caution comes out, the race is over. No overtime, no green, white, checkered, nothing. No, that does not exist here. Some leagues have done it manually, but this is one where it is, well, when it's over, it's over. Scheduled distance is scheduled distance, no more, no less. 4 laps to go for the number 10 of Tim Blum. 45 laps on his tires. He should be able to make it after a 2-tire pit stop and essentially a fluke in terms of Sean Butler and his internet unfortunately dropping out. Again, he may be eliminated. We will get confirmation on those final 2 drivers. We'll get confirmation on those final 2 drivers and the point standings after the race. So don't go anywhere if you want to know who is in the top 10 for the next round. Because it's 12 drivers this round, 2 will be eliminated. As far as Tim Blum goes, he has been very familiar with number 2. All too familiar at some points in this season as well. It's the second race. It's 2 laps to go. He's come second, what seems to be so many times, to the point of being virtually heartbreak. He's qualified on pole, but he has never actually won a race where he's qualified on pole. With the final lap this time by, this could be his chance. 2.6 seconds separates himself from Max Terrio. 2 tires was enough, and a fluke from Sean Butler's internet connection of turn number 4. It will be Tim Blum finally victorious at Richmond Raceway in the Red Light Scrambler Series in the Cup Cars. Second place, Max Terrio. Third place is Eric Johnson. Finally, so much relief for Tim Blum to actually get a win instead of a second place finish. And the race is officially over. Your winner is Tim Blum. Don't go anywhere. Again, if you want to know what the points are, we'll get those at least during or after your post-race interviews. But for now, your race winner is Tim Blum in the number 10. I don't think he has enough fuel to actually do a burnout. He's trying. I don't think he has enough fuel, to be honest. I think he's out of fuel. I honestly think he's out of fuel. I would actually not be surprised. 48 laps. His engine is still running, that's all I know. But nonetheless, though, your final standings for this race, semi-official, are Tim Blum, Max Terrio, Eric Johnson. We'll get an interview with them here in just a few moments' time. Andy Lee, James Skelton, 4th and 5th, respectively. Richard Murdoch, Leo Bordage, William Long at 6th, 7th, and 8th. 9th place is going to be Brandon Minto. Rounding out the top 10 is Patrick Orr. Finishing in 11th is going to be Kevin O'Brien. DJ Anderson finishes in 12th. 13th, Ryan O'Donnell. 14th, Christopher Rothrock. 15th, unfortunately, Sean Butler, after his internet connection had given out. Joshua Buckley, after wrecking out finishes in 16th, and same with Brian Phillips, also wrecking out, finishes in 17th. So right now, we will be going to your post-race interviews. Oh, never mind. I think Sean Butler was watching. Or sorry, not Sean Butler, Tim Blum. I'm pretty sure he was watching. I thought he was out of fuel. He was just waiting afterwards. He probably should have went for it anyways. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, of course, this is essentially a very special win to him because it's actually a win that he's finally gotten, so. I'm also surprised he could wait just that bit longer. So, again, interview with your top three here in just a few moments' time. We will not be going to commercial. Instead, we'll be going directly to your top three. So, we'll be starting with Eric Johnson, then Max Terrio, and then Tim Blum. I don't believe Terrio is actually available. Nope, never mind. I was looking right at his name. So, he is available. So, everything's fine. Your top three is available. So, we will start off here in just a couple of moments as we're going to get the sound settings readjusted here over on this end of everything. And we will be bringing in the third place finisher, ironically and appropriately enough, finishing not only in third place, but as well as third place in the number 33. So, threes across the board for you, Mr. Eric Johnson. Congratulations on your third place finish. I'm saying that way too early, but either way, though, it was mostly a caution-free race with that run to the end. So, how's the track handling for you?
My car felt good. I wasn't using up my tires too much, and I was kind of hoping it went longer. I was on a good strategy there, but ran out of laps.
Yeah, definitely ran out of laps, but fortunately not enough to warn any, essentially not exactly a worse position, but also a very big relief for you. However, coming into this race, you were 11th in the point standings, and you came out in third place. Not in the point standings, but of course in the race itself. I'm still waiting on the point standings at the moment to actually be updated. So, aside from that, though, that must be a huge relief for you to actually go from in line to being eliminated to possibly in the next round.
Yeah, I missed Talladega, so I was worried, and I was just hoping for a top five in this race and just go from there, see where I fall, and worked out. And feel bad for Sean dropping out there.
Now, it's really unfortunate. Internet connection always comes across at the very worst time. I should know. I've experienced that, unfortunately. But aside from that, though, before we go ahead and let you celebrate your third place finish, anyone that you like to give a shout out to for this finish here tonight?
I'll give a shout out to Tim for winning the race, everybody involved with Red Light Racing, and you for the broadcast. Good job.
I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your third place.
All right, thank you.
So that was Eric Johnson. Next up is the number 42 of Max Terrio. Instead of, well, 3 wins, and, well, you pretty much locked yourself in last week. But aside from that, though, I mean, you still came across with a second place finish, essentially a very dominant performance here at Richmond. So not too bad of a finish as well in your Ford Fusion.
Yeah, I took advantage of Sean's disconnect to get second, and I pushed a little too hard with about 30 to go with Tim, and in the end, I probably overheated my tires and had nothing left for the last 15 laps.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but on the bright side, though, you do manage to essentially cement yourself into the next round. So heading into, oh goodness, Las Vegas next week with the Xfinity cars. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close racing, and if I remember correctly, tire wear plays a big part over there too, and it's a longer race than what we're used to, so it'll be definitely an endurance compared to a race like tonight.
Before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your second place finish here for this week?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend and my friend Max at Mexican Thing, and the guys running this league, Josh and Richard, James. doing a great job every week, and we have decent fields every week, so it's fun to race with these guys.
We're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations once again on your second place finish.
Thank you, Gary.
So before we get to Tim Blom, we're going to take a quick double check at the point standings to see if they are indeed cemented in stone, and they are. So we have in your top 10 advancing to the next round, Tim Blum, Max Terrio, James Skelton, Leo Bordage, Richard Murdoch, Eric Johnson, Kevin O'Brien, DJ Anderson, Ryan Aldani, and Kyle Souza. William Long and Sean Butler for this race have been eliminated. They both missed the cut line by, William Long missed the cut line by 1 point. Sean Butler missed the cut line by 2 points. Kyle Souza wasn't even here. He didn't plan to be here as he went to travel for the he went to travel for a pro wrestling show, Monday Night Raw, is what he said last week at Talladega. So I'm surprised he got that great of a finish, and he still managed to advance, and he wasn't even here. So that is absolutely Kyle Souza got lucky there for sure. So definitely a very big relief for Mr. Souza. But before we go ahead and finish off the night, we're going to go ahead and interview your race winner, of course, Mr. Tim Blum, who had finally gotten a win, and well, it's more than likely a big relief for you.
Yeah, finally, it feels good to get the win. I was looking, I've got 5 second places and a few top 5s, and it's good to be first.
Yeah, especially after finishing 5 that many times. I distinctly remember at least the times you qualified on pole, which Lime Rock comes to mind, just like the very first time, as well as, actually, there's no pole standings over here, but oh well. Aside from that, though, it's, again, a big relief. So heading into Las Vegas and essentially cementing yourself in kind of at the last second, but even more so than last week. What are your thoughts for Las Vegas next week?
Well, there's Vegas and then there's Indianapolis, and I don't know, those aren't my strong tracks, so I'm gonna have to do some practicing and get some laps under my belt to feel really good about getting to the next round.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, especially with Indianapolis for sure playing into effect. But, well, for this race, how's this race overall for you, aside from, well, relieving and leading 80 laps of 125?
It was a great race. Felt fast right off the bat. Getting the pole was a good feeling, so I thought I had a strong car. And the first run, I pulled away from Sean, which is a rare thing to do in this league. And then he had some good pit stalls and or pit stops, and then a few cautions came out, and I was worried that I was going to be fighting for second again. But connections happen, and I feel bad for Sean there that he had no control over that. That was shaping up to be a great race there. Not how I planned on passing him if I could have, but I'll take it any way I can, I guess.
I mean, 2 tires is impressive enough in its own right, but yeah, definitely heartbreak for Sean Butler. I would not be surprised if he's either A, disappointed, B, mad, or both, especially with how internet is nowadays. So I feel for him because just even during a broadcast itself, I've had internet go out and I just get immediately frustrated. So I kind of feel for him as well. So it happens, but hopefully he will still be able to continue his winning streak. But aside from that, though, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we go ahead and let you go celebrate your first place finish?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for the broadcast. I know I got I think I got my sister, my dad, my wife, my niece, everybody watching back in Florida. So love you guys. Glad you could watch, and thanks to you, Gary. I get to show off to them.
Oh yeah, no problem. Especially after your first win. So it's well, yeah, your first win for the season as well. So definitely a big relief as well. So we're gonna go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your first place.
Thanks, man. See you next week.
We will indeed. So before we sign off, we're going to read back the final 10 participants advancing into next week in order as well. We have Tim Blum, Max Terrio, James Skelton, Leo Bordage, Richard Murdoch, Eric Johnson, who came into this race in line to be eliminated, Kevin O'Brien, DJ Anderson, Ryan Aldani, and Kyle Souza. Drivers that did not advance as William Long, unfortunately. William Long was in line to be eliminated coming into this race, and unfortunately he is for sure. Sean Butler also eliminated due to internet connection failure. So these next 2 weeks are going to be quite interesting, especially with Sean Butler not in the championship picture. Which, I mean, he definitely is of championship caliber. His internet has decided that he isn't, however. So that's going to be quite interesting. As once again, the upcoming broadcasts for Thursday, Sunday, and next week. This Thursday is going to be the Field Jetstream Media IndyCar Series as we stick with Richmond for their twin 80-lap races, two 80-lap races in one night, back-to-back. That goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Flat Out Racing League with the Cage Cup Series. They head to Chicagoland Speedway with a new package, race number 3 of their 10-race season. That goes live at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time. And finally, the Red Light Scrambler Series next week goes live at the usual time of 8 p.m. Eastern Time with the Xfinity cars at Las Vegas. It's going to be quite interesting to see what plays into effect there for the next few weeks, or the next 2 weeks, I should say. So as we sign off, we're going to sign off here from Richmond. Goodness gracious, from Richmond, right? Apparently cannot say the name of the track anymore. It's been a long, not even just over an hour. So signing off from Richmond Raceway, I have been Gary Weaver, and we hope to see you next time here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Thank you all for watching, and good night. Congratulations once again to Tim Blum.